Hey, everybody, it is Michelle Fox, and I am super excited today because we are interviewing. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot to ask you, Shamika or Shamecca? Like, how do you say your name?
Shamecca Stephens.
Shamika Stephens. I meant to ask, but I
That's
always say
okay.
Shamika, but then I'm like,
Yep.
is that correct? Or am I just making that up?
It is, but my mom wanted to be unique, and she sure was, and she spelled it technically Shamecca. I'm like, oh my
That's
gosh,
what I know.
thanks,
I know. I'm
mom.
like, I say that, but I don't know if that's how it is. But anyway, so Boss Babes, get excited because we are talking to somebody that is red hot in just creating and promoting online. I've been following her for a few years. She is one of my heroes. And just so that you have sort of a flavor and idea of what she's all about, I want to show you some of her social media. And if you're brand new to us, welcome to Boss Babes Online. We're sort of doing something extra special today where we're interviewing someone who's already done what we're all striving to do, which is taking our businesses online, creating an online persona, a brand, a presence, and expanding in that way. So let me just show you what she's got going on. Okay. You're going to be very impressed. So, first off, can you see the branding colors? I mean, they're gorgeous and they are obvious, and that is a good thing. And she has so much going on YouTube, and they're brief and they are riveting. And anything that you want to know is probably already there. Like any question that you have for today is probably already answered on her YouTube channel. And up here, she's taking advantage of the real estate, so to speak, on her banner where she's got a free branding guide, etc. And I'm going to take you to that in a second. But same thing with her Instagram. Again, she's consistent with her colors. She's using Reels, her Facebook, again, a gorgeous banner. And this is her personal profile. Is that correct?
That's correct.
5,000 followers? What the heck?
I know it's
What
crazy.
the heck?
And
So,
then my reels are definitely on there. Like most all of my reels I do on Facebook, so you'll see those as well.
dang. So anyway, I know you're going to want to learn how to brand like she does. So this is just a little aside, but you can get a free guide from her on how to build a stunning brand and attract more business. And the way you get that is go to her YouTube channel, which is her name, and then click right here, okay, to get that. So I know that just that is getting you super excited because she knows her stuff, okay?
Aw.
And I'm going to let her tell you her story. She's already got some questions that she's ready to field because my boss babes on Facebook have been so excited that they're already asking questions in advance. So, without any further ado, Shamika, do you want to just kind of tell us a little bit about your backstory and then answer those questions? And we will answer questions in the comments, so you can ask at any point. We will come back to them, but we have a few things that we're going to talk about first. So
Mhm.
I'll stop talking
Okay.
and let you
And
talk.
let's do
Okay.
it. Hello, everyone. My name is Shamecca Stephens, and I am a mom. I'm a fur baby mom, so not like kiddos, but a little fur baby. And I have a husband, Chris. He's super supportive, and pretty much, well, I've been into the direct sales industry for over 10 years, and then eventually it got to where I was like, okay, I've got to change up some things because around 2018, I was working out in the field. I was a home party rep, and basically you had to go and travel to people's homes, and I always felt like I was in people's homes more than I was in my own home. And during 2018, that's where I had basically a whole health crisis kind of hit out of left field. I was basically dealing with a lot of vertigo and headaches, or really migraines they were calling them. And so we did an MRI, and then that's when we discovered I had MS. And so MS just stands for multiple sclerosis. The good thing is we caught mine early, so I am on good treatment for that. I go to the Shepherd Center in Atlanta every 6 months to get that all taken care of. But with that process, it got to where I was like, I can't I don't have the energy to load and unload my car several times a day at several different appointments. I've got to make this more efficient and work for me. And it, in 2018, there wasn't a whole lot of people, like, especially in our company, that was talking about, working online. It seemed like it was the impossible thing to do, if you will. And I was like, I've got to figure something out. And so that's when I started taking a ton of courses and just really buckling down and learning. And I started implementing it. I started doing online parties and was having a lot of success with that. Actually had better sales online with my parties than I did in person. And I was like, wow, that's something to be said. And I mean, like, I like anything that could be, automated. It was automated. So pre-profiling a customer, they got a job form, and once they filled out their job form, they got samples in the mail, and that was a done deal. And we had a date when we were going to go live, all of that. It was a whole machine. And so it was crazy, but it worked. And I was like, okay, this is so awesome. And then I started getting a lot of other consultants when 2020 hit. Of course, COVID, everybody and their mama was having to really like pivot and basically find a way to work online. And so that's where it was so crazy, because I felt like in 2018, man, I'm really being held back. I'm not able to move. I'm not able to work my business. Man, God, why are you slowing me down now? And it's funny because he always knows what's better for us, and so you have to trust. Even if you feel stuck, even if you feel stagnant, just do a little a day, whatever you can do to move that ball forward. And you'll start to see, okay, all of these pieces and parts are starting to connect, and I'm starting to see some results, and so it was wild, because after 2020 hit, I started, helping people in my unit, people on, on my personal team. I started making tons of YouTube videos, and it was like everybody and their mama was coming to me asking me for help. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't, let me figure out a way to keep answering these questions. And so that's what I would do. And so that's what basically got me started on the whole online course creation. And then when I really learned about branding and marketing and all of that, it really just intrigued me. I loved it. Like, I was like, this is it. Like, I've always loved sales. I'm not a pushy salesperson. I do not like pushy salespeople. And so that was something that was really important for me to be able to, show other people how to do, and, have a beautiful brand. Because unfortunately, the first time a person meets or sees you, whether it's in person or online, you've already made that first impression. And it's really hard to reverse that first impression. And so we gotta, definitely take advantage of what's out there as far as like being able to do the branding. And a lot of times the branding stuff, so simple, easy, little tweaks that make such a huge difference on your profile. And so that's just a little bit about me in a nutshell, how I got started.
Awesome. That's so awesome. And I love everything that you just said, because it's all encouraging. I can just feel the audience just like feel like relieved that, you're just saying that things happen for a reason. Small changes make a big difference. You can do this. And that's right. The message that people need to hear. So that's so beautiful. All right.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Like I tend to talk a lot. Can you tell?
That's okay. That's okay. But that was one of my things. Like, I always felt like I was on the sidelines. And, initially after I got diagnosed with MS, they were trying to figure out all of the treatment options for me. And the first few I went through for the first year and a half were awful. And I worked from my bed, and it was horrible. And Chris said, honey, you get so upset about working from your bed, but do you realize you actually get more done in like an 8-hour shift than I get done sitting at my actual desk? And I'm like, well, I guess I can't complain if I look at it that way. And so just know, not everything that you do may look traditional and be what you see most people's highlight reels show, because I assure you there is a lot of craziness behind the screen, so to speak. So, and nobody shows that.
Right.
So, but I will go ahead and I'll hop into, there were a few questions that people had in the group, and then I'll go into my slideshow, because I think after, just looking at the questions, going over it, the slideshow will definitely answer a ton of the questions that were asked. But what do you do? So I'm an online marketing coach, and so I teach entrepreneurs video marketing strategies and working online and simple systems to grow and scale their business online. And especially another thing that was really important was for me to be able to help people that feel like they have obstacles. So for me, my biggest obstacle was my health, but people have obstacles in all different kind of ways. It could be kids, it could be work, it could be whatever. And so, I want to help those people see, look, there is a way to do it. It may not be like the perfect way. You may have to take 5-10 minutes here and there to do different things, but just, work in those minutes, and it'll happen. And then the thinking behind what I do and why. That was a really good question. I'm not sure who asked that, but it was a really great question. And so, why am I creating a piece of content? That is my first question, because I love creating designs and stuff inside of Canva. So it's not hard for me to just get on a whole rabbit hole of creating stuff. And so the first thing I have to ask myself is, what is this content for? Is it to grow my email list? Is it to increase my sales? Is it to start making noise for a course that I'm getting ready to launch? Is it to nurture my current audience? And is it for providing value to my current audience, so that, they don't just always feel like I'm pitching or selling something to them. I always want them to know that I lead with love first and compassion, and I want to help. My true heart is to help people. And so that's what I love doing. And and then there was another question for easy steps to implement and tips for creating a successful reel. And believe me, I've got it all lined out for you. You may be like, oh my gosh, make it stop. And so
I don't think so. I'm still gonna love it.
And so I will go to, let's see, stop sharing. Let's see. Let me see if it's going to let me. Oh, maybe I'm already sharing. Let me know.
Yep, you're already sharing. So just go to, yep.
Okay, cool beans. All right.
And I'll put it up. There we go. All right, so you're on.
Awesome. So this is a crash course overview of everything, like from Reels to YouTube to personal branding. And I really just wanted to kind of dive into this, because I was like, I wanted to break down each part, because there's so many different things. And this is, y'all, just the icing on the cake, if you will. And so here is Reels. So what are Reels? Reels are short form vertical videos that are less than 90 seconds. They just recently increased it on Facebook from 60 seconds to 90. So just definitely be aware of that. However, it's ideal to keep your reel about 15 seconds or less, because we know people have short attention spans, and statistically those reels tend to do better at 15 seconds or less. You can also add filters, stickers, music, audio, text, and more to your reels. However, I will warn you to don't overcrowd your screen out. So like, this is your reel screen right here. You don't want to overcrowd it with too many emojis and stickers and all of that good stuff. And, you always want to be sure you have some kind of title put on your reel. Reels are served to a wider public audience, which is a great way for people to discover new creators. And so so whenever I create reels, and I've been, like I said, working on a whole course for reels. So over the last 6 months, I've done a lot of testing on my Facebook page. So you will see that if you go to my reels, you'll know that it looks kind of random. And that is kind of on purpose, because I know that a lot of people start from building from their personal profile, and then they'll open up a business page and then go on to another platform. And so it's like, we got to start from somewhere. So we start, generally at the profile page, and then move over to the business page, that sort of thing. And so let's see. And so that was I just lost my whole train of thought there. But nonetheless, you do need to kind of start building from somewhere. And the reason why I had a mix of reels on that page was because I'm not only, the audience that makes up that 5,000 people is not just the people that follow me for my business tips. It's also friends and family and people that I know personally in my everyday life. So I really wanted to go well-rounded with what I shared. So I share a little bit of personal, I share business, I share, organizational tips, cooking things. I mean, there's a mix of stuff on there. And then I started really dialing it into just sharing business posts and then sharing that to my Facebook group, and what have you. So there's a lot of strategy going on there, and you can kind of look and see, okay, hey, how does this type of video work, on a reel? The three main questions that you've got to get really super clear on before you start creating your first reel or your first piece of content or video is, what do I sell? Who do I help? And what do I help them do? You really, really got to be clear on that. In the beginning, it was like, okay, I know what I sell and I know who I help, and I know how I help them. And before it was all course creation stuff, I was in skincare and cosmetics. So I knew I sold skincare and cosmetics, and I help people that want, a better looking skin. And then why do I want to help them? I knew that it would help, them feel better, and it would help to fix any issues that they were having with their skin and what have you. And the thing I learned there was, because we used to be taught, well, if you have skin, everyone's in, that sort of thing. And that is not the true case. I also learned it's really, really important to define your audience, because just because you can work with everyone doesn't necessarily mean you want to work with everyone. And so really tailor that, to what makes sense for you and your business and how you work, because the way you work and the way another person may work could be completely opposite. And then at that point, you're not really, you're speaking over each other at that point. And then whenever you're planning your reels, I never just go on and say, okay, I'm just going to create a reel today. No, I use my notes app. And basically what I do is I use this little outline, and you guys can take screenshots of this as well. I meant to mention that earlier, but this is how I plan it out. I just pop open my notes app on my cell phone, and I keep it simple. I literally use my notes app on my phone to fill in all of these questions. So whenever you're creating a reel, it should start with the hook, and the first 3 to 5 words that you are saying within the hook of your, your video, your reel, it should be capturing your target person, their attention. And so those keywords need to be something that's going to really grab their attention. So those, like I said, about 3 words need to be in that first sentence. So or, is your Facebook Reels view down, or are you having trouble doing this? And, something of that nature, just something that's going to make them stop. Oh yeah, that was me. I was just dealing with this the other day. So sentence 1 is the hook. Sentence 2 is the problem. Sentence 3 is the aha moment. And sentence 4 is the solution. And sentence 5 is the lesson and message to your ideal person's view. So the person that's watching this, your ideal viewer, they need to know by the end of that 60 seconds, if you're going to take that full 60 seconds, what was the lesson and what was the message that you were getting across. And like I said, the quicker you can get this across, the better. And that is something I still have to work on. And so the purpose of your reels is to inform, educate, and entertain. So informing your audience, whenever you first start a reel, you're wanting to inform your audience. Okay, what are you talking about? What is the topic or the subject of this content, or this reel, or this video? They need to know what they're getting into, because people, they have very short attention spans, and they have very short time, if you will. And so if you're not getting to the point like pretty quickly, they're done. They're scrolling. They're on to the next thing. So educating your audience is explaining the meat and potatoes of your topic and your talking point and of your topic you're talking about, with examples, visuals, etc. And then the entertainment portion of it is, you need to entertain your audience. To entertain your audience is to think like a producer. What shots could you get that would really elevate your reel? You could also do this by adding visual interests like stickers, music, text, and B-rolls. One of the biggest things that I do is I get a lot of B-roll footage, and I actually have like an album on my phone where I save all of my B-roll. So whether I'm going to the grocery store, just walking down an aisle, I never know when I'm going to use any of this footage, but I just know that it could possibly become very helpful at some point. And I pop that into a reel, or I pop that into a video. And so I know that I've got that. And that really helps people. And every 3 seconds, your reel screen needs to change, or people's are getting bored. And so that's just another tip. But you want to start thinking about a producer like, okay, so what are my 5 points, like your 3 to 5 talking points? What are those? And then how can I elaborate on each one of those points to basically, one, show people, like tell people what I'm talking about, but also show them visually, because people want to be taken on a journey. And so that's kind of what you're doing, but in a very quick, 60 seconds or 90 seconds. And so now, making a successful reel. That was one of the questions, that was asked earlier. And so you want to use as few words as possible on your titles, on your reel titles page. So I've Googled this and I've tested this because I'm very long winded, as you guys can probably imagine. And so, it's hard for me to get everything put in like, concise little messaging, but you want anywhere from 10 to 15 words is what Chat GBT says. But however, other, creators and people that are kind of at the top of their game, they say no more than 3 to 4 words. And so you can play around with that. You can look at that for yourself personally, because what works for one person with reels can maybe be a little bit different for another person. And that's due to demographics and the age of you're the age of your audience. Like, who are you talking to? Does this content resonate with them? If it doesn't, then it's probably not going to get the same engagement as maybe someone else that did this trend or whatever and it worked for them. So you really have to dial in your ideal person and know what your personal niche is, all those things. But if you start having an issue with, not being able to get your words, your titles down to 3 to 4 words, then just know that Chat GBT does say it can be 10 to 15 words. And I've done them all and I don't see it being an issue. You also want to be sure that your message, your title is concise and catchy, and that it grabs your ideal person's attention. Like I said earlier, you want to be sure you use keywords that will resonate with your audience. And so, not like right here, it says not such as, not so great of a background, do this. And so a lot of people that I work with and deal with, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't have any place in my house where I could film. And I'm like, okay, I got you. One, you can do this hack, or you can start doing filming zones. And that's what I had to do, because we have a little small mill house that was built in 19 ? And they just don't know. And so it comes with a lot of character and a little bit of space. And so I have gotten very creative with working around some of these obstacles within this house. And so, just like I said, just mention your first 3 words in the hook, like your keywords in that hook that you're wanting to be sure you're grabbing that ideal person's attention. Okay, so whatever you're talking about, that kind of needs to be in the hook. So they're like, oh yeah, this is for me. And then incorporate props and characters. You guys, let me tell you something. This is the first character reel I had ever done in my entire life. And I was like, I'm going to try it. And it ended up being one of my better reels. I think it got like 4,700 views or something like that crazy. And I was just like, what? And like my regular audience was even sharing it with their audience. And so it got a lot of traction, if you will.
So cool.
And so this was explaining to your Aunt Susie what it is you do for work. So this is how I made this topic interesting, because your Aunt Susie's going to always be like, well, honey, what is it that you do for a living? And you try to tell her and she's like, oh, there ain't no money in that, or something, like that, and so I had to kind of go back and forth with Aunt Susie, the character here, one being myself and then one being, filming Aunt Susie. And so that it's like a little bit different than just coming on and saying, hey, I do this, this, and this is why you need this, this, and this, versus if you incorporate a little bit of characters or props or a different element or view to it, it's going to really make it pop a lot more and get a little bit more traction. So I do suggest them, but however, that's been my first and only reel so far. And I've had plenty of requests for them, but I'm like, okay, I gotta get back in the mindset and figure out who the next character is going to be. And so just know, if you make the reels, like making the reels fun was another big thing for me. So I was like, oh my gosh, I get to do this. So where am I going to go today? Do I want to film outside? Do I want to film inside? Do I want to go to a cool park? Do I want to, what do I want to do? And so just start thinking like, okay, what would be really cool video wise to see, and then where can I add some B-roll in and, and whatnot. And that'll really get you going. And so that is everything that kind of in a quick little nutshell that kind of touches on reels. And then YouTube crash course. YouTube can be really, really overwhelming, to say the least. I will break this page down. Definitely feel free to screenshot it. But this is how the YouTube algorithm works. It all comes back to this flywheel concept, which is your ability to grow your audience. And so, number one is going to be your ideal viewer. Number two is going to be relevant content for this viewer. Three is algorithm categorization. And then four is internal traffic sources. And so for number one, for your ideal viewer, you first have to know who you're talking to, who your audience is, the one person you want to help. This is generally a mirror of you when you were at your 0 point, whenever you were at your worst, when you were ever trying to figure out, okay, how do I do this? Everybody else is doing this. I can't figure out, barely how to put, something in Canva and it come out decent. How did you get past that? What did you do? And, all of that. And so knowing your personal niche, this makes creating content a whole lot easier. And then two is relevant content for this viewer. So that's why it's so important to know who you're talking to, because that's what YouTube is looking for. They're like, okay, does this mesh with what she says she does? And so by creating ideal content for your ideal person, they are going to naturally want to watch more of your content. The more your viewer watches and engages with your content, the more it feeds the algorithm. This helps to grow and categorize your channel. And then that starts picking up, and then that fan starts to turn a little bit. And then we get to step 3, which is the algorithm categorization. And this helps YouTube algorithm to know who you're trying to reach at this point and what your channel is all about. The algorithm is computer generated. The algorithm is a computer generated program that scrubs through your videos to figure out what you're saying in your videos, so it knows what people to push your content out to. And so that's like whenever you're watching somebody else's video and it's on a specific topic and you really seem to be, watching that video at least halfway through, they're going to see in the sidebar, you're going to start noticing other content that's very similar or related to what you're currently already watching. And then 4 is once it's basically your internal traffic sources. And so once the algorithm figures out who to categorize you with, the internal traffic sources push your content to those types of viewers within YouTube search, suggested, and browse to push your content to more ideal viewers. That's when at that point creates that whole flywheel effect and really starts helping your channel to grow and take off. And so you really just want to work this all the way, to where it keeps it running, it keeps it spinning. And it's just kind of how the whole thing works. And so basic makeup of your subscribers. This is kind of like just a funnel and a little bit of a visual representation. So, the top of the funnel is your channel category. This is going to be your personal niche. So whatever it is that your channel's all about, that's what this is. And that's going to start attracting these people to come and watch your videos. And so this would generally make up your 3 to 5 content pillars that you talk about on your channel. And this is going to really start to help to attract people to your channel. The next level is viral. So this tends to be content that you've created on your channel that tends to be more trending and popular topics. It creates an emotional response and appeals to beginners, surface level people, or people that are on a surface level of learning whatever it is that they're learning. But the thing with the viral videos is they have a shorter shelf life, but reaches a wider audience. Now, everybody's goal is to always go viral. And I don't know that that's exactly what you want to do, because when you go viral, you go broad. And we know that you're talking to everybody. And so when you talk to everybody, you're talking to nobody, and that's not your specific audience. And so you may get a bunch of views on this, but then when it falls back down, you're like, shucks, what did I do wrong? And so it's just, you want to be, kind of an even keel on all of these 3 categories right here of what what type of content you're putting out. The next type of content is more in-depth type content. This is your average momentum engagement on your content. It builds huge and deep loyalty and community with your audience and core viewers and subscribers and followers. This humanizes you and differentiates you from your competitors. And then at evergreen level, this is like your ride or die, your diehard fans that follow you. This is going to be content that will never go out of style. This attracts current and new subscribers to find value in your content you are sharing. And this creates steady growth and long-term growth. So this is really kind of the engine to what, like, where you're like making up your content, if you will, and the type of content. And you just need to kind of cycle through these 3 different kinds of content so that you're really reaching all the different types of subscribers that land on your channel. And so the next thing you want to do whenever you're creating a YouTube video is to outline your videos using Google Docs. That's generally that's my go-to. I have it on my phone as an app. And once you understand how YouTube works, you want to create a video outline for your video. Start with a title hook, quick introduction of yourself, of who you are and how do you help people. And you really want that introduction to be less than 30 seconds. Like, it just needs to be like, hey, my name is so-and-so. This is what I do and how I help people. And for the content of your video, create 3 to 5 talking points, and then you start elaborating on each of those 3 to 5 talking points. And the most important thing, if you're going to create a YouTube video, is at the end of your video, you never say it's over. It is never over. You always end with a call to action. It's like the song that goes on and on and on. It's like the Lamb Chop song, if you will. That's the way I remember it. I'm like, okay, I never tell them it's over. And so you always have another video for them to watch on their end screen. And that's all stuff that you're going to do on the back end of uploading your videos. And basically, you want it to kind of be just another video that's, ideally related to whatever it is you're talking about in that current video. And so let me get a little water for this one.
These are just gorgeous graphics. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you. I like I said, it's a hobby of mine at this point. Like I love doing it. So I love graphic design. But your tips for your thumbnails, I want you to think about it as driving down the road. And you know how when we're driving, we're like just looking along and we see all of these billboards. Well, that's kind of like how your YouTube videos are. People are on there and they're just looking and they're searching for whatever it is they're looking for. But if it's not catchy enough to grab their attention, then you're not going to stop their scroll and they're going to maybe go to another video. So the most important thing for your thumbnail to do is to stop people scroll. You want to use high quality thumbnail images. The image needs to look crisp and really clear on all platforms and devices. Create a thumbnail that sends out and will grab people's attention and use attention grabbing type text, fonts, and colors. However, do not overdo this because it will definitely make it be too much. I think is what I'm trying to say here. Too much for your, what's on your thumbnail. You just don't want it crowded out. But you also want to be on brand with whatever it is that you're putting on here, because people begin to get to know the look and feel of your thumbnail. They're like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so. Oh yeah, I like watching her stuff. What's that video about? And then 4 is to have a minimum of 3 to 4 words, and ideally your face on the thumbnail, close-up pictures of your face. And when I say close-up, this right here would be a good one. This one would be probably a good one. This one, not so good, because you want to see the whites of your eyes. When people can see the whites of your eyes, they trust you more. And I'm like, that's a weird statistic, thing, but it is proven statistically. And I was like, okay, so I need to zoom in a little bit more on myself. And so that's why, if you look back at some of my older thumbnails, I was like itty bitty, like here in the corner of the screen. And then I like just blew up on top of the screen, it feels like, or the thumbnail. And that is why. And so for 5, you can also hire this portion out at Fiverr.com if you are not good with Canva and graphic designs and stuff like that. And initially, when I started this all out, I couldn't barely put a graphic together to save my life. And so there is hope. I mean, I'm telling you, there is really, truly hope, because I've came a long way. But you can hire it out. And so just know that. Don't feel like if it's something that's going to cause you a huge stress point and you feel like, oh, my Lord, this has taken me 3 hours and I ain't even got to the stuff I really need to get to, then hire it out. And then also your YouTube thumbnail size should be 1280 by 720 pixels, 16:0 ratio, aspect ratio file size, and should be no larger than 2 MB. And so I just use Canva to create all of my thumbnails. And so they have all of that information right when you start downloading everything. And so I know I'm within the parameters. And then now this brings us to personal branding. And again, back to the same 3 questions. In order to create a personal brand, you got to know who you want to talk to. Who do you want to help? And so this right here, again, what do you sell? Who do you help? And how do you help them? And right here, you want to be sure you get professional pictures. That is the most important thing. And when I say professional pictures, I do not mean go hire you a fancy, expensive photographer. There's no need for that, especially when we have phones that have cameras just about as good as some of these DSLR cameras that the professional is going to have to take your pictures with. And so you can definitely hire somebody if you want to. But for me, it was just easier for me to set up my tripod or have my husband go with me on a day, and we just go around town and shoot a bunch of different pictures. And whenever you're shooting pictures, you want to get pictures of all different types of, what is it? Pointing like, huh?
Backgrounds?
Yeah, different backgrounds, but also doing like different things. So like you will be pointing in one, like pointing up, pointing down, and then your shocked face, and you actually working on your computer, and like just all these different types of shots, because all of this is going to actually end up at a certain point on some type of graphic at some point in your business. And so this makes it so super easy to send over, like whenever you're, say like if you're talking and doing an interview, for somebody, you can say, okay, here's my headshots, here's what you can pick from, and that way they can easily like remove the background, put you on a graphic, and they have everything that they need. And then, but this also elevates your profile tremendously. I can't tell you how many more people how many people started taking me much more seriously when I just changed my headshot. I was like, are you kidding me? Like just a headshot? And so, yeah, it's a lot more polished. It looks like, okay, she's really taking her business serious. This is what she does. Yeah. And so they get that impression when they come to your profile, and especially when they come to your profile and then they start seeing, oh, she's got links to click. Oh, she also has a YouTube channel. Oh, she's got this. Oh, she's giving tips on this. Oh, she's doing reels on this. You start building your credibility that way. And so just if you're, like lost on what types of poses to do, just Google or search on Pinterest professional lifestyle photos to get pose, scene, and background ideas for your pictures, because that will help you, know what you're looking for. I would also say take 5 to 7 different outfits whenever you go, because once you've made the point to do your hair, makeup, and do all the things, we want to maximize as much of that as we can. And so like I'd be changing in my car or go to the bathroom if it was in a park and change there, and just, my top, and basically just that's what I did. But you'll also notice in this picture here, all of these, this is mostly like my brand colors. So I also was on purpose with that too. And you do kind of have to know what your brand colors are before you, kind of start doing a photo shoot and all of that good stuff. But if you, like just don't know or can't get, get that all figured out, just pick a solid color t-shirt and go with that from the beginning. And then kind of change up, like remove the background inside of Canva, put a background color that you do know you like behind it, and then the little circle frame around your picture. And that makes your picture stand out 20 times more than the average picture on there. And you don't want, like, of course, the seatbelt selfies, because we tend to have better lighting in the car with the seatbelt selfies, but it doesn't look as professional. So we just want to be sure that we don't, we actually want to look on purpose that we took this picture for purposely, for on purpose for our profile. And then creating your brand board. That was one of the most important things I did was
to create.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Make me one.
I know, right? Well, you can actually get it whenever you get I think it's in that,
in your freebie.
Yes.
Okay.
And none of my stuff's in here. I tuck it all out so you can just plug in all your stuff here. So what this does for you is, say, like, for instance, okay, this is what colors I like. These are the hex codes to every single color that I'm using. And so whenever I hire something out, I just send them my brand board and I say, hey, these are the fonts I use. These are the colors I love. This is kind of the design elements. Like I love, pinks and corals and beachy and purple and all of that. This lets them know kind of my vibe and the type of person I am. And then also, what type of thumbnails am I using? Like, what do my thumbnails look like? Because as a designer, what I learned with them is what you put in is what you get out. If you don't give them a whole heck of a lot, you really get a broad kind of not so what you wanted. And so you got to be really, really super clear on what is it that I like to use? What is it that I'm, all of that fun stuff. And so you can totally grab that and just, it'll have this in there to where you can just boom, 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 plug in all of your stuff and add textures, patterns, logos, all of that. And so this will give you not only like other people clarity to like designers that's designing for you, like, oh, this is what she's wanting, but it gives you clarity. So, because I used to want to use every single color of the rainbow, but that wasn't cohesive and nobody remembered me. They were like, oh my God, yeah, that's the rainbow chick. She just puts every color, And so that'll help you dial it in a great deal here with this. And
that's
then
gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Like I said, I've done a lot of working over the time on all of this stuff. And then say like, okay, after you get your pictures done, a lot of times whenever you're shooting pictures outside, your biggest struggle is going to be with lighting. And so when you have that issue, just know that you want the sun kind of behind you. If it's in your face blaring and you're like squinting and all of that stuff, you don't want to do that. You just want to be sure you can kind of get maybe in a more shaded area or, turn your back to the sun, that sort of thing, and get the picture as best you can. The good part is there is a app called Lensa. I use it. I pay for it once a year. It's $19.95 for the year. But as much as I use it, I feel like I'm abusing them at this point in the game.
That's a great deal. Wow.
It is. It's $19.95 for a year. And I'm telling you, you will get like, it smooths out your complexion and things like that. Now, you don't have to completely.
I'm writing it down.
Take everything away, but if it's a graphic that I am creating to go on, say like a freebie or a flyer or something that's really important, I need my headshot to look professional. I don't want it to look like, oh man, everything else looks good, but her picture looks a little wonky and off. You just want that cohesiveness all the way across the board. And so the first way to get people to taking you seriously and to doing business with you and wanting to, hear more about whatever it is you do and attract people to you is dialing in your brand. And then, the rest is history. And so that is everything that I have got in a nutshell.
Holy smokes.
I mean, we nailed it. We fit it all in. Chris was like, oh my gosh, that's going to take hours.
That just blows my mind that we are honored that you took the time to create that. I mean, that's absolutely. Like 3 separate courses put into one, and people are saying great tips. Thank you so much. I mean, oh my gosh, we are so blessed and honored. I am not seeing any questions at this point. So if anybody has specific questions, please chime in because she's here to, we can pick her brain at this point. But I love everything that you say of all of it. I mean, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And probably the only point at which I paused and was like, was seeing the thought process behind reels, because I don't want to do it.
Yes. Oh, I was the same way. You look at the beginning of when I started with reels, it'll give everybody hope because I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, I don't even know. And like I was putting text where I didn't know where text exactly went. And the cool thing about it is the more you do it, so like just start small, like say, oh, I'll do 1 reel this week. And you can also start by doing reels to where you're not even in the shot. So like basically you're taking B-roll of stuff or you working, just getting footage of you working. And then you pop up 3 tips on that reel, and then you
True.
don't even have to be in it. Because I was like, if this depends on me dancing and singing, I can't do that, because I know I can't even clap on beat in church. So me doing that on a reel is going to be a mess. And so that's
Uh,
a way to get started when you're like,
mm,
oh, this is scary. And I mean,
mhm,
you do have to get your mind wrapped around, hey, I'm going to do this. This is a little something extra that I'm going to add. And I would say one thing at a time. And that's the best, that's worked the best for me. Because if I've got too many irons in the fire, I'm like, my brain's on fire. I don't know what's going on, you know? And so
mhm,
you can't focus. And so just take it one step at a time.
mhm.
And it'll get better as you go. It'll get more dialed in.
Yep, and I love how you're so specific. That's what I need is like, okay, something different every 3 seconds. You need a cat, a hook, then you need this, then you need this, then you need this. I guess I watch other people's reels and it just seems like they just throw it together, and I
Yeah.
feel like I should be able to do that. But no, you
Yeah.
got to actually plan it out.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now I
And
see some questions are rolling in. So
oh,
I don't know if
good.
you can see them. Let's see. The first one is she wants to know how long it took you to implement what you learned and what courses you took, or what courses do you recommend? She actually has courses, friends,
Yeah.
that you can take.
I actually have a Reels course coming out pretty soon. Putting the finishing touches on all of that. Oh my goodness. So for Reels, I didn't even take a course to learn this, because I felt like there was nothing out there. And what was out there was all Instagram related. I'm not a big Instagram person. I'm more of a Facebook person. I was like, I want to create reels for people on Facebook. So I started watching people's stuff. And so I watched people's videos, like their reels about organization or about just different topics that I was interested in. And I was like, okay, how did they do it? What are they putting in there? Okay, so she's showing them how to pour this in there, or she's showing it being poured in there. And that like sounds, which is weird. So it's ASMR, I believe. So you'll see like videos where people are refilling stuff and you hear it like all refilling, all the stuff falling in, and then them opening a drawer and then vacuuming. And
Hmm.
it like basically it soothes people's
Hmm.
like their mental state, and they're just so intrigued to watch it. So I started seeing that. I
Interesting.
was like, okay, that's something important to notice. And then also, what are they doing in their reels? Are they doing all these like little pointy type poses? Are they doing, maybe one up here, one down here? I started studying it. And then when I started seeing people's reels that I absolutely loved, I saved I saved the music to the reel, because that's a whole nother that's a whole
Mhm.
nother portion to it right there. Is once you get a good reel dialed in, you have got to then pair it with a song. And a lot of times, everybody else will tell you to pair it with a trending song. I will tell you now that I am not going to compromise my beliefs, my morals, or anything like that to get a cool, catchy song. I will find something that's more happy, playful, ukulele, upbeat
Mhm.
music, because that also is like a message being kind of subliminally, like more
Mhm.
subtly put. It's like they always feel like, man, she's always so happy. When I watch her stuff, she's the happiest person ever. And that's
That's
not,
true.
that's not that I'm not a happy person. It's just that that's what you see and feel in the videos. So your music that you put in there really, really is important. But just know you don't have to always do the most trending sound, because some of them are a huge turnoff to me. And so there's so many components. And that's why I was like, I haven't seen a course yet that breaks every bit of this down. And that's why I'm like, okay, I gotta get something out there for people, because I've been testing and studying this over the last 6 months just myself, and looking at, okay, what works, looking at analytics, and then comparing my stuff to say other people that's like in the realm of how many followers I have and how is their content doing, and all of that. So there's a lot of stuff behind it. Now, I did take one of Michelle's courses, which was Video Superstar at one point, and that helped me with video, like getting more comfortable with shooting videos and vertical videos and things like that. But nothing prepared, I don't think, anybody really for reels, because they for a long time were really new. And then now it's like okay, Reels is definitely here to stay, and they see
Mhm.
that it's just a cash cow. And the thing that you got to look at is your Reels is just a sample. Like, I think of it like if you're at the mall and they all have in the food court, they're like, hey, try this, try this, try this. And that's kind of what Reels is. So everybody's wanting you to sample their stuff and try it. And so you want it to be really good,
Hmm.
eye catching, solid
Good.
content, hitting hard. And then they're going to be like, okay, I want to know more about what she does. And then they get over to your YouTube channel, or they get over to your Instagram, and then they start following you on different profiles, or social medias platforms. Also, in the captions area, it's another big area that's important. You want to be sure you have a caption down there. And you can also let people know, like in the comments section, hey, I have a freebie. If you found all of this helpful
Mm.
that I just showed, I've got a freebie that you can totally easily download, and you just throw that in the comments. So there's a lot of strategy, a lot of
Yeah,
strategy.
a lot going on. And
Yeah.
she's referring to Michelle Cunningham. So Michelle
Yes.
Cunningham has a video course. Michelle Cunningham has a whole lot of
A
courses.
whole ton.
So yeah. So I'm seeing a few comments along the lines of, where do you start? If you're
Mhm.
like brand new to the whole social media video, you're like, where should be the place to focus on first? Do you have an opinion on that, Shamecca?
So like, are you new to social media, or are you new to Reels?
Let's
Um,
see. Blah, blah, blah. If you're just getting started with developing social media platforms, what
okay.
is the most important thing to do? And then somebody else said, what is the first thing to do for an absolute beginner? So I get the feeling that they're, new to social media, new to online in
Okay.
general.
So the first thing I would do is get your profile set up. And there's like 4 different areas. And let me see if I can. Am I on the screen share thing?
I can do that.
Okay. Like, there's 4 different areas on your profile that you want to be sure that you are sharing. And so let me see if it will let me go to my Facebook page here. Are
Yep.
you seeing my Facebook page?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
good. Cool beans. So we're going to go over here to home. And what we're going to do is look at, okay, what are some of the things? Let me get this all. I thought I was sharing the whole. It's just taking its little sweet time.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
No, no, this is you. We'll get there eventually.
I'm like, what's it doing? It's a lot easier to show, but maybe, oh, you know what? I was hitting the wrong button. No wonder it was going a little crazy. Okay, so right here, the first thing you want to have is a solid banner. And whenever I say banner, I mean right here. Once you click that banner, you've got a freebie to where you're welcoming people to your Facebook group that you're going to eventually get created. Don't worry about a Facebook group right now. Right now, you're just going to worry about getting a banner up there. And then if you do have a freebie of some sort, and it may take time to actually build out like a freebie that you're going to offer to your audience. And you may just be trying to figure all of that out. So you'll want to plug in links here, and then this is going to start generating leads. Now, this is not like, oh, they're flying in wide open. This is a slow drip, but a leaky faucet does get attention at some point. And so it adds up very quickly. Right here in your intro. So you see where I did not put like an intro about me or none of that madness. I did grab my branding guide to create a stunning step-by-step brand. And here's the link that they can click that's going to take them to, basically that guide. And it's actually going to be a landing page where they enter their information, their name and email address. And that just starts to help me to build my email list. If you know anything, if I tell you anything at all here today, it is to start building your email list. Whether you know
Mhm.
who you're going to use that email list to and for, or what, you just want to start, gathering emails. And then right here in this area, and I'm sorry, my husband shared his reel to my page here, but he loves cooking. And so I plugged in my Instagram, my YouTube channel, and then it's got a few extra ones here. And I'm like, I need to take that one out, but also my Facebook group, the How to Entrepreneur. It also has my link tree. And then this is my actual website. And this was where I highlighted at one point, they used to have a featured area and that's changed. And I need to go back and really like take this out and just update all of this area here, the featured area. But you can feature, like, say, certain stories that you have that did really well. You can feature those here as well. And then, like I said, the main thing is your profile, your banner, getting that kind of dialed in and created so that that way people know that, hey, this person's open for business and this is what they do. And it may take a minute for you to truly to figure out what it is you want to do and who you want to help and all of that. But when you get into, okay, there's niche and then there's personal niche, and personal niche is like more dialed down. And like whenever you start really niching down, that's where, I think the saying is the riches are in the niches, and that's what it means, like at a personal niche level. Okay, so like who are those people that you're wanting to work with? Get very, very clear on that, and then you'll be able to communicate that very effectively here in your banner, and then that'll start driving people to you. So the main thing is just getting your profile set up. Also over here, a lot of people will put all the colleges and education and all of that they've done. I move all of that out. I do not put that there because that's not really important. As far as growing my business online, that sort of thing. And
Awesome.
so that's, I hope helps to answer, but you just want to start just, one thing at a time, if you will, like work on one little piece. You start with, getting your profile picture done. And well, you may want to first figure out your brand colors and get that dialed in so that when you do go take your headshots and your professional pictures, you know what colors you want to coordinate and have, because that also helps your branding as well. And then, then you start working on getting the headshot, like put with the circle around it and all of that, looking nice on Canva, a solid background color, like one of your brand colors behind you, because it's just going to make your profile picture pop even more. Is just one of those important things. So just bite sizes, one thing at a time. Because if you try to take it all on, you shut yourself down. And I've done that many a times.
So true. So I'm debating, we've been on for about an hour, but there's just a couple other questions. I think we can just hit them real quick.
Okay.
So I figured out how to do this. I know how to show the question on the screen now. So can you save your reels as drafts after creating without posting till you're ready? And can you schedule them? And then this is making me think of something else. Like I used to think that when you created reels or shorts or whatever, that you had to do it in that app. Like you had to do the TikTok video in TikTok. You had to do reels in Instagram, but you can actually create them in a different app and save it and upload it to these. So do you want to speak to that and let them know how you do it?
Oh yeah, I film everything from my cell phone. And so that way I don't feel pressured and I'm not having to figure out like, oh, what do I do here? I need it to stop here. Like all of that stuff. So I film it directly from my cell phone. Then I pull it over to Splice, which is another editing app. Now, everybody uses CapCut, and I know that. And I have used Splice personally for years. Splice is just an easy app to use. Now, I'll tell you the only difference between the two apps is Splice costs like $5.99. I think it is a month, like either a week or a month, depending on, they have a lot of different options that you can do. And I just write that off as a business expense. However, CapCut, they do have a lot more options to edit your reels with, but it is, to me, it feels a little bit more overwhelming and I'm just not used to it. And so the main thing is I just pull it over into whatever editing app that I'm going to edit that video in. As long as I kept the video short. If I got long-winded, then I pull it onto my laptop and edit it in iMovie. But ideally, I'm just going through and I'm cutting out big chunks of pieces. Like, okay, what's the hook? Did we get that accomplished there? If I did a few takes of it, what's the best take? And then I move on to the meat and potatoes of it, the 5 sentences. And then I just keep on cutting it down. And then I also increase the, like how fast things go, so that way I'm always meeting that 60 or 90 minute or 90-second mark for the reels. some people like, okay, so say like if I once you create a reel, say, and I know for Facebook this is true, once you create a reel, you can save it and it downloads directly to your phone. So the way I like to have it is, I first, once I finish editing it in Splice, I save that original copy of the reel and I put it in an album called OG Reels. So I know that that's the original reel and it has no sound, but it's been fully edited. And then whenever I have like the Facebook reel, if I'm like, okay, I know I want to repurpose this and whatnot, like I'll repurpose it over to shorts and other, areas. I'll download the one that I got from Facebook, but I check first to see if you want to make sure there's no logos or anything like that from, the reel that you just downloaded that you want to maybe share to another platform. That's the one thing that I do, but I just also make sure in that other platform that they have that same song that I used in from Facebook in that area, in that platform. If they don't, I just find something else that kind of will work for that reel. So for me, there are people that completely edit. Like I know a lot of people use Instagram to record their reels and do all of the editing inside of there. To me, that feels like a lot going on, a lot for me to try to figure out and learn. And I'm like, no, I can just cut out a few steps, film it all from my cell phone, and then pull it into an editing app and go.
Awesome. So I feel like that's a great answer. I hope that made sense to the viewer. It took me a long time to figure that out. I mean, it seems like such an obvious thing, but I struggled with that. I'm like, okay, so if I'm filming this in TikTok, then how do I put it into Instagram?
Yes, because then you end up with watermarks, especially if you take it from TikTok or shorts or what have you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a mess.
So someone's asking about thumbnails. Thumbnails are for videos you save on your Facebook page. They're asking.
Oh no, now the thumbnails are going to be strictly for my YouTube videos. And so that's for just the YouTube portion. You just need a solid thumbnail for there. Now for your cover, like your titles for Facebook Reels, you just want to have like a little title that you make for those reels, and that you can create inside of Canva. And I just pull that into my editing app right at the beginning, and it's right there, ready to go, and in the reel. And so that it shows up once you pull up, say like my reels grid, like on Facebook, I think here, like if I go here, you'll see, it normally shows, here it is. So this is like all of my reels here. And so it will pull it up. And this is what I mean. When you see a reels grid, this is like, okay, hey, she's got titles and people know what they're getting into. So you do want to just be sure you put a title there, and just that's the main important thing. And then thumbnails for, your YouTube channel, you just want to be sure they, really grab and catch people's attention. So two different things, if you will.
I have not been good about putting titles on my stuff. Like in TikTok, like after you save it to TikTok, you can put, like TikTok has the option that you can put like something on there. So I use that, but I don't have it as actual part of my, the video itself. So I'm learning.
Oh yeah. And
I've learned a lot today. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. And I even incorporated brand colors for my titles for my reels, so that way it all kind of, it looks cohesive all the way from the front to the back, if you will.
I love your brand colors, and they're spot on. And I love how consistent you are. That's been my biggest problem, is I keep changing my mind. I
was that way for a while.
Oh man, but yours are awesome. So I think we've hit all the questions, but honestly, if you want to keep asking questions, Shamecca and I will see them. I mean, we'll be notified as they come in, and we'll come back and answer them in the comments. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Honestly, I've learned so much, not just today, but just following you over the years. And it's just been a blessing to know you. And I'm just so excited for what has happened and what will happen with your business. I encourage all viewers to take advantage of that freebie that she offers on personal branding, and to make sure that you're following and subscribe to all of her social media. She has one course already available and another course coming out really, really soon. So you want to take advantage of those.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Any parting thoughts, Shamecca?
No, I think that's it. And I'm just so thankful that you allowed me to come on and share me with your audience. And I look up to you. And I just think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. And having a group like this to where we can really help and pour into people and we
Mhm.
learn from each other, I just think that's amazing. And you do a really, really well, like an awesome job with it. And I feel like you just don't give yourself enough credit. And I think that's
Aw,
just all of us, but you're really
thank
amazing.
you. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And so that is a wrap. Gosh, I just am so happy with this, and I know everybody else is as well. But we're gonna have to end it sometime.
Yeah.
So okay, so goodbye everybody, and we'll see
Bye.
you next week.